proceedings. It's very important.
Yes, of course. People have refused to allow me sleep since the IBB memory, the revelations.
Yes.
A lot of Nigerians, I don't know. Someone said something. They said, you're talking about June 12. It's not new. Everything that happened, we are aware. An elder statesman made that statement. And I was like, oh, come on. Some of the Indomie children may not know all of this. But this revelation, some what benefit is this revelation coming up 32 years after? And some person said it's good because it's better known than never.
Yeah.
And some of the persons might take cue from there. But one very interesting thing that happened in that launch is the fact that a lot of head of states were there. People that were enemies in the past, allegedly enemies in the past. You plotted a coup against me and you knocked me off the seat you took over. Oh, you assassinated my loved ones. You imprisoned my loved ones. Everyone was there. And of course, you can't take it away from the former vice president, Yemi Osinbajo. That presentation for me, it was something else. The humor, the sense and everything. I saw the presidents laughing humorously. And
Yes,
I was like, oh my God, this is how it is supposed to be. But then, what if it was not Osinbajo that was actually doing that presentation? Do you think the atmosphere would have been that palatable?
You know the thing about life that I've known is that if you're going to make such an utterance, especially when it has to do with a book launch and all of that, you go and make peace behind closed doors and you come up. You can't just come up and just make that sort of statement or bring out a book unaware or unannounced. You have to go make your peace. Know that everyone is good. We're all good. There's no issues anymore. We're all moving forward. It's all about forgive and forget before you come out and talk about it and make that known to the whole wide world. There's some different speculations. There was someone from the Abacha clan that says IBB is a coward at this point after 32 years coming out to. For me, like I said, it's better late than never. It's better to tell the truth, say your truth, and you're out with that peace of mind and that rest so you can move forward.
One of the grandsons of late Abacha said IBB is a betrayer. The daughter came out to also make some statements. Well, it's not going down with some persons, but like you said, that was very vital. It could be that IBB had already gone round to make peace between the people he has offended in the past. And you know what happens when someone is in power? And the military is quite different from the democratic regime that we have now, this dispensation. And when you are there are certain things you are forced to do to actually get your way through. Those things were done. And there was a list that came out yesterday about a coup that was plotted. The coup that had Mama Mvasa, about 3 or 4 persons from Benue State. And someone said, this is the coup that wiped out the best hands in Benue State.
Very true. When I read that, IBB, he said something. He said he did that because the same integrity of Nigeria a lot of things would have happened. So many things would have happened to our dear beloved country, Nigeria. So he did that to step in. Like, when it comes to you putting your foot down and making the right choices, it can be very hard. But at the same time, you know that it is not you anymore. It's not one individual. There are a lot of people that are concerned. So it has to be beneficial to each and every one of us, not just one person. And not because you're my best friend, I will not make the right decisions. I have to look past all of that because people that have put me here look up to me. It wasn't easy to make such decisions. That was his childhood friend. It wasn't easy.
When I saw that, I was like, hey, come on.
Really?
It wasn't easy, but he felt it was worth it. Just like you said, it's for the benefit of Nigerians.
If you read the process and what was
one of the things, during the military regime, there is a written rule. There's a laid down rule for every coup plotter, and that you must do.
Of course.
If anyone has been convicted and is part of the plotters, that is always been done. So happened to others before.
Exactly.
How will you spare your friend?
Exactly.
That's part of it. Then you begin to think about it again. How would you?
Allegations that are ongoing.
Have you taken a walk to Osun State?
A lot of things are happening in the political sector.
Well, I don't know, but then I think politics these days is not what we really thought it is, because local government election, despite the incidents, the whole action, the whole courts, what's not, AGF, everyone saying all sorts, the election still went on, and we didn't hear of any violence, even though the turnout was not as much as it was expected. The bottom line is that election has been conducted. It took place, and even the governor, without wasting time, he was one of the first set of people that went out voting, and that's what it means. But then PDP sweeping almost all the polls is what I don't really understand. The same thing, if you remember, we're talking about those states here, where we say, how would one party just sweep the whole local government council? Now we're having the same thing in Osun State.
Yes.
And, I'm yet to come to terms with the reason why one. But then, even if you want to, I didn't say the rigged election. That's not what I'm saying. We are not saying that. But then, even if anything was done at all, allegedly. Why not just allow this other party to take?
At least one or two. First of all, like I said, well, I don't want to speculate anything, but we know what actually played out. But at the same time, you just sit and you wonder, the electoral process in this country, when will we be ready to just let it be transparent? Let's just really. Are you sure?
No, sometimes.
Now,
but no, these people want to find their way into governance by all means. But if you get there, don't forget the people. That's what we're saying. You want to be there by all means, doing everything possible to get there. But when you get there, don't forget the people, because this is democracy. Government of the people, for the people, and by the people.
Exactly.
Even if it is not originally by the people, let it be for the people. So if you're there, we don't care how you got there, but then have the people in mind. Whatever you do should portray the original democracy that we cried for. The people should feel your impact. That's what we're saying.
But you know what? You said it here countlessly. You have said that once one party is in power, you think about how to win the next election. You're not even thinking about the impact in which you can make, what benefit is it to individuals in that particular locality or constituency. It's just unfortunate that, well, like you've mentioned, once you're in power, please, it is for the people. What are the benefits the people will actually achieve in all of them? What would your administration, what will it bring to the table? It's very, when they say what do women bring to the table, so what would these political parties, what will you bring to the table that will be beneficial for us?
Women.
Well, that's what women say sometimes.
No, it's true. It's true.
What do we bring?
But now, the 21st century women don't even want to sit at home.
No,
they seriously want to bring something to the table. Kudos to all the women out there, and kudos to all the great men out there making things happen, making Nigeria a great nation, making the society worth living.
Nigeria a great nation.
The head cannot stand without the neck. So when I say man, I'm referring to both man and woman.
Better.
Because if you take the WO, it is still man.
Okay,
so
the
woman cannot exist without a man.
You're very political. I've seen it from day one.
Well, this is Global Morning, and the Tag Team Monday. You can never be tired of their introduction, and this is how we get started. And this is one of the best ways to get your day started on a very beautiful note. Well, starting with this beautiful smile makes your day more beautiful when you get out there. But then I think it's very important for you to know what's making round. What are the papers saying this morning? Which of the stories would be of interest to you? Stay with us as we go on a quick break. After this break, we'll return, and it will be time for us to look at the pages of the national dailies. We will be back after this break.
All right, you're welcome back, and it's Global Morning on Global Television. It's great to be here. And Ramsey, you didn't mention, we have a Global TV app now.
Yeah, the Global TV app on both Android and iOS. So if you're using an iPhone, good. If you're using an Android, good.
Fantastic.
So from any part of the world, it's so fantastic that if your advert is running on Global Television, you can be able to track it anywhere you are in the world. So it's so good. So if you've not downloaded the app, quickly do so now. Just click on your your app store, then your Google Play Store. Just get there, then just type Global TV Nigeria. Then you will see the app with blue logo. Just click on it, download it, and you will watch every of our programs, even we broadcast wherever you are. Same thing is applicable to those who are using iOS store. Just do that. Well, it's good to know. So
we can be watched all over
the world. That's Global Television. It's global, so it's everywhere you go.
Exactly. And all about this point is a newspaper review segment. And first we'll start with the Blueprint newspaper. And above the nameplate it says Ramadan. Group targets 3 million naira donation to feed 100 vulnerable Muslims. That's a good one. That's a good, because Ramadan is all about showing love, care to individuals, especially less privileged. For you being thankful, that's the spirit of Ramadan. That part where you have to fast for a whole month, being thankful for what you have. Know what it feels like not to eat throughout the day. Individuals go through that every day of their life, and yours is just 1 month, so you should be grateful if you can eat 3 times a day.
I saw one good news yesterday that's connected to the Ramadan, that in the north, the price of foodstuff is reducing. Because a lot of people were bringing, in fact, I think I'll need to get that paper. I think Business Day also of yesterday, price of commodity were reducing 20%. You see,
Beautiful.
I was so glad. And some person said a lot is coming out. The people are bringing so much to the market from the north because of the Ramadan, and I was excited about that.
And
I just want to pray it flow down this way.
It will, and the thing is that it's not just for Muslims. It's going to be beneficial to both Muslims and Christians, because when you go to the market, they won't ask you if you're a Muslim or Christian. It's going to be beneficial, and that's a good thing. That's what we're talking about. Once you're in power, it should be beneficial to all, which is a good thing. And then still on the Blueprint newspaper, it says Information Minister Idris loses mother-in-law. Jannah is holds at National Mosque today. Condolences to the Information Minister Idris. Unfortunate, Honorable Idris, unfortunate there. And on Business says we have over 600 billion naira worth of fuel in stock, and that's Dangote. And that you can find on page 22. And sports, that's Ramsey's beat now. It says 2025 Afro Basket Championship, the Tiger secure ticket in Libya. And you can find that read on page 32. And then the star story on the Blueprint newspaper says tension in Osun as defunct Adeleke swears in local government chairs councillors. We'll have to find out the implication of that, though. We'll have to talk more about it, because we heard what the court ruling said. And of course the writer there says tell them to stay off secretariat, release allocations to only reinstated chairman. APC urges federal government. And the last says beware of wild west. Makinde warns. What does he mean by that? Wild, we know when you hear wild west, what comes to mind? That's violence, right? Really? And still on the Blueprint newspaper, it says Ayedatiwa Doms Akeredolu's redeemed agenda ups for our ease. Okay. And I'm still on the Blueprint newspaper. It says Nigeria saves $20 million daily from fuel subsidy removal. Oyedele. And the writer says current tax system not conducive. Federal government China signed 7.6 billion euro clean energy deal. And here it says 32-year-old Nigerian Oduwole nominated for Nobel Peace Prize. Amazing there. NCDC reports 80 deaths from Lassa fever in 11 states. Unfortunate incident there. It says Elumelu
advocated higher oil production to drive economic growth. And the fruit of the blueprint says 3 suspects nabbed attempting to buy 6-month-old fetus for 30 million naira in Mina. Well, that is all. And the story that caught my eye is so many. First of all, talking about the rider on the tension in Oshun as different Adeleke Suez local government that says, beware of Wild Wild West. That cracked me up. And then, of course, you hear things like 3 suspects nabbed. It shows that the security agencies are working very hard to nab individuals who are trying to buy 6-month-old fetus for 30 million naira in Mina. Wondering, what do they want to do with the fetus? What comes to mind?
Rituals.
Of course, that's what comes to mind.
Rituals. And how would they even get these features? That's the problem. Meaning, a life must have been wasted.
Of course.
To get that.
Because,
I don't know. I think that's not the best way to go. Well, let's see what the law will do concerning these people, because whatever happens to people who actually do things like this will make others, sit up. People who are thinking of the same thing. These crimes, people are recruited into it. And a lot of Nigerians are vulnerable right now because of the challenging economy, because of the hardship.
Yes,
but that's not the best way.
That I have interest in is the NCDC reports 80 deaths from Lassa fever in 11 states. We're still going back and forth with Lassa fever. It's not going, is it going anywhere? Is it going anytime soon? When you hear about Lassa fever, it's caused by rodents, it's caused by, the marketplace, how these rodents nibble on uncovered goods when it comes to gari, when it comes to rice, and is their feces that are left in it. People sell it and all of that. Do you think we're creating enough awareness when it comes to Lassa fever for people to understand what it means? What it means, as in how far it can go. It can actually take lives. For 80 in 11 states, that means, are we doing our bit? Because that's a lot. That's a lot of people that have died.
When we talk about things like Lassa fever, we talk about cholera, we talk about malaria, we talk about typhoid. So many things will come to your mind. She said, thank God I mentioned men. Not all. There are some men that are experts. But people that just, women alike, there are some persons that just put it in the water and just every of the ingredients go in just at once. Without even rinsing, without washing.
To cook properly.
And all of that.
To cook properly.
So all of this contributes to the problems that we are having, especially the children.
Well, you know what, Ramsey, if you look at it, you can't take away the fact that, the economy at the moment, people don't want to waste too much time in cooking for a longer period of time because they do not have that means when it comes to gas, when it comes to charcoal, when it comes to all of these. So it's better once you put everything at once, everything cooks, you're good to go. No one has that time to start boiling, then you fry and all of that because they want to save costs. It's just unfortunate, but we need to take precautionary measures. It's important because it has to do with life.
That's very important. It has to do with life.
All right, the next paper, over to you, Ramsey.
Okay, let's get to the next paper that we have right here. This is the Vanguard newspaper, and above the nameplate, 1966 coup. IBB has vindicated Igbo, Ohaneze, Chekwas, Okorie is the one saying Igbo. Then go pick a copy of the Vanguard newspaper and go straight to page 11 and you'll get to see what he meant right there. Then this one says Ganduje Minister Baker over Kanu APC chairmanship. All right. Okay. Chairmanship in Kano State. A lot happening in Kano State. Attention, eyes are always on Kano State because of the population, and anything that has to do with politics, elections, people will say, oh, if you win Kano, if you capture Kano, well, you will win the election and all of that. Well, so many things happening. Ganduje Minister Baker over Kano APC chairmanship. Then this one says, why I introduce SAP other policies. IBB is still talking right here. I think that's an extraction from his book, Why I Introduced SAP That's the stomach adjustment program and other policies. Details on page 29. Now to the big story, still tilting towards Osun State local government polls, and it says APC marking the war over Osun local government polls. Details you can find on page 11. No matter what the war is, I think everyone should sheathe their sword so that governance can actually take place in full-fledged. It's all about the people. I'll keep saying that. This one says NLC to IMF, World Bank. That's the kicker. Stop lending to unaccountable leaders. Wow. I think we need to talk about this much later. All right. This one says we have 600 billion naira worth of petrol in storage. That's Dangote. Then why Nigerians are angry. Ango Abdullahi, two writers to that story, and the first writer says, whether military or civilian regime, good governance is key. The second writer says, we don't need new states. Well, I think that proposal was dead before arrival. The Speaker of the House have said, well, that's not constitutional. It's not part of what we are thinking about right now. So that is not in the process anymore. No to scrapping of NDDC. Is Shekiri leader? Tell Tinubu. Details on page 12. All right, some of the stories that actually caught my fancy right here. A lot of stories anyway. This one, NLC to IMF and World Bank. Stop lending to unaccountable leaders. I don't know the country they are actually speaking to. Which country do you think they are speaking to?
Please, I will not be the one. Don't put me on the spot, Ramsey. We all know.
I'm just asking. I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Don't put me in the middle, please, Ramsey.
All right, Nigerians, please get on and get to the comment section and tell us the country they are really talking about right now. Please don't come borrowing. Don't borrow. If I don't lend, don't give money to people that are not accountable. All right, people that will not tell you this is what they want to do with the money, and people who come to tell you this is A and B that we are doing with this money. Then at the end of the day, you don't get to see the evidence, which would be the proof and the only thing that can shut the mouth of argument. Where there is evidence, there is no argument at all, because everything is glaring. But I begin to wonder, why should people, for selfish reasons, go borrow a very huge amount of money from IMF and the World Bank, and at the end of the day, you don't even see them doing anything with it?
And then the worst part is there's no transparency, no accountability to that money.
So who is going to hold, because people who borrow this money are the people at the election, the cream la creams, the elites of the elites. Let me use the word of my president right here, the elites of elites. They are the ones who do all of this. So who is going to hold them accountable, especially in a setting where the judiciary has lost trust of the people?
Very true.
So I think this is a good one.
So what country do you think they're referring to at this point?
A lot of African countries.
Okay.
A lot of African countries.
Okay.
You know, so if any country, even not just African countries, every country of the world, because this is global television and people can listen to us from every part of the world. This is a right word. It's a right statement. The proposal, it's good. Don't lend to unaccountable leaders. All right, anyone who is coming in the name of God, when you don't pay,
it's all about
then
interest.
the interest. My God, you don't need to talk about
It's all
that.
about the interest.
The interest is something else. Then another story: petrol in storage. What are you storing it for when we don't have enough circulating? So why the storage? Why storing it? If we have this product everywhere, every filling station have it everywhere.
No long queues.
No long queues.
Like I
that will even control the price.
There was a filling station that the queue was very, very long. I had to go to the next, maybe because it's, of course, it's the MRS that we're talking about. And
What are you storing it for, please?
The moment you mentioned that filling station, something came to my mind about that video that made round and made Nigerians just flocked to that filling station. And I was like, hey, come on, is it true? Was that video really true? Or it was just someone trying to make a content? But up till now, the queue is much. There is one along the airport road. I didn't even know about the video in the first instance. While going back home, someone just said, what's happening? Look at this queue. Oh, is it because of that viral video? And up till now, there are still queues in this very particular filling station. I'm not calling the name anymore because I'm not advertising. Worth of petrol in storage, then they should let it out so that there would be competition because pumps, only two are selling.
Exactly, yes, that's true.
That's because they want to control, they want to enforce some form of scarcity. So that the more there is scarcity, the more there is queue, the more they can increase the price. So if we have this product in all the filling stations, like we said, we have 600 is it million or billion worth of petrol in storage. Dangote, please let it come out. Don't store it. All right. Finally, from here, the reason says no to scrapping of NDDC. Ishekiri leaders tell Tinubu, I think it's not a scrapping, it's just the merging. It was actually not, it wasn't scrapped, it is still there. I think that's the only way these people can know that this thing is still there. The benefits they were enjoying while NDDC was there should still be on. That will make them know that it wasn't scrapped, it was just merged. That's what it is. All right, I think we should get to the next paper now.
All right, the next paper on the newspaper review is The Punch. And above The Punch newspaper here, it says on page 2, tax reform. National Assembly engages caucus leaders as hearing begins. We have enough fuel to meet Nigerians' need. Dangote Refinery, like we've mentioned that in the previous paper, you can get that read on page 52. Babangida justifies $12.4 billion Gulf oil windfall mismanagement despite Okigbo report. And that you can find on page 5 of The Punch. Now, beside the nameplate of The Punch newspaper, it says, Lagos Assembly, Tinubu engages Akande, Osoba, others on peace mission. And the writer says, Miranda may step down. And you can find that read on page 60 of The Punch newspaper. Some very punchy headlines, don't you say, Ramsey?
Very punchy. Yeah.
And then the Star story says APC PDP clash as El Rufai woos opposition parties. And you can find that read on page 2. And the writer says ruling party berates Kaduna ex-governor for romancing PDP bigwigs others. Well, you have to go find out what that is all about once you go get yourself The Punch newspaper. And below The Punch newspaper says IG squads man secretariat as Osun local government poll crisis rages. You can find that read on page 9. And a very sad story here says stepfather friend arrested for impregnating 14-year-old in Lagos, and that you can find on page 6. Southwest governors lack power to stop Sharia panels, quarrel judge, and you can find that on page 9 of The Punch newspaper. So what's your take on APC PDP clash as El-Rufai woes opposition parties? And the writer there, which is funny, says ruling party berates Kaduna ex-governor for romancing PDP bigwigs and others. What are they trying? What are they trying to imply?
Well, it's still part of the aligning and realigning for 2027.
Yes, it is.
You can't take that away. But then, El-Rufai, the former governor of Kaduna State, after not being given the ministerial position, so many things happened. And some person said, well, what else is he looking for? He's been minister of, FCT, yes. And a lot happened. And he was a governor of Kaduna State. Then why coming out as a minister again? And so many things went on, and he didn't take a bow to become the minister of FCT. There was a closed door meeting between himself, the president, and some of the presidents, and the next thing we heard is that he is out of the country. Then lately, we started hearing things again. This is politics, like I'll keep saying. A lot of preparations going on for
Behind closed doors.
27, behind closed doors, and even openly. They couldn't, in fact, they can't hide it anymore. Someone made a statement. He said, has El-Rufai become the PA put him on the global map for certain reasons? That is one aspect. And there is this belief and school of thought in Nigeria that it is very difficult to unseat a sitting government when it comes to election because they have an upper hand. But that didn't happen in 2023. Are we still going to build on that legacy, or we're expecting something different in 2027? El-Rufai now coming into the picture, opposition parties, probably they are also trying to see how they could form a measure that will unseat APC in 2027. But then an elder statesman have already made a statement that, well, it should still go to the south, but in 2027 we don't know who is actually returning as the president of this country. That's a big game. But the question is this: you still have a recycling of the same people moving from one party to the other. So at the end of the day, you won't even understand the polity and the ideology that these people are trying to push. You were in APC, you were in one of the party, you are now in PDP, or probably you are still in APC, then fighting for oppositions, wanting oppositions to come together. Well, we know that there is someone in the People's Democratic Party that is currently in the APC administration talking about the Minister of FCT. That is all part of the game. That's all part of the politics. But now, having the same people pushing, I don't know what ideology, but moving from one party to the other. And sometimes you see this force come into play when things don't go the way of certain people. They seem to leave a particular party to jump into the other party. I think until we have a rule by all the parties that they should,
which they want to govern. So listen, that's a really big question mark, and it solely lies on Nigerians. When this merger comes into play, who do you want to be the president of this great country, Nigeria? That's why I said it's a very big question mark. We just have to hope and wait and see at the same time.
Another story that caught my eye is stepfather friend arrested for impregnating 14-year-old in Lagos. Unfortunately, children cannot be trusted with families or friends anymore. You have to be very careful, especially when individuals can lure them into some very, some acts. It's just unfortunate there. Well, I hope the law will take its course, very importantly. And here for me, Ramsey, what other story caught your eye?
I think we looked at.
And then I know many people will be saying, why is Babangida coming out and telling us about this memoir when it comes to June 12, when it comes to his friend and all of that? And then now he says Babangida justifies $12.4 billion Gulf oil windfall mismanagement despite a Kigbo report. And you just wonder, why is he coming out and telling us, or bringing out all of these cobwebs and trying to clean the cupboard and all of that? I just feel, for our curiosity, for us to know what actually played down, instead of every speculations or allegations, it's better. I'll say it's better late than never. I see nothing wrong with it, and I feel we should just let go and move on.
Something just came to my mind. I don't know if I should ask you. I should ask you. Wow, I love that. What do you think will happen if the money realized from this book launch is being pushed into the economy because of the challenging economy that we have, or maybe used to offset some bills for the vulnerable Nigerians, like this administration will call them? What do you think would happen? Or is it possible? Is it a possibility? Or is it something to think towards, or to give it a thought?
I think it's something to think towards, and that will be a noble deed. Do a lot of good. really. But we just have to hope and see what will come out of this, what will happen. Right now.
There are things you do and people say, this person really loves this country. I'm not talking about the fact that, I don't know, something just came to my mind. Things are just coming to my mind this morning.
To your mind, I know.
You know, the Senate promised that they were going to give part of their salaries, okay, for the vulnerable Nigerians. Then after a month or two, they said bureaucracy played out, and it didn't happen. Has it happened?
We're still waiting. Some Nigerians are still waiting and just folding their arms and wondering what is actually going on. That's the falsehood we're talking about here. That's where you see there are no transparency, no accountability. You just give false hope.
But why would you say something you know you can't do?
Exactly.
No one is forcing you to say
it. No one is. Like false. Just do the right thing. We don't care whether you give your salary or not. You can. If you can. These adjustments can be made. Like seriously. If somebody always says something. The reason why there's always lapses is because one person is not doing his or her job, expecting others to do the job for you. It's not going to happen. Just do the right thing. You don't have to you don't have to make falsehood, giving people false hope. That's one of the most, I think that's, do not do it. And then you try to wiggle your way around it like we do not have, I don't want to say the word because it's a Monday morning, we have to be positive, you know how it is, but please let the needful be done when it comes to transparency, accountability, and doing the right thing, that you present individuals who look up to you, who put you in that particular seat. Very important.
All right, let's get to the next paper, and don't forget that the AM news will be coming your way at the top of the hour, so you don't need to go far away from your television. Now, this very vital information's coming from the Guardian newspaper, and this one says afterthoughts. Okay, this is a journey in service. That's the kicker. Afterthought of the Maradona, says critics as IBB share June 12 blame. That's the big story on the Guardian newspaper, and details you can read on page 6. This one says Nigeria may lose $200 billion FDIs, 600,000 jobs. Nasima wants as federal government taxes free trade zones, that is FTZs. Details you can find on page 3. 1966 coup, Ohaneze demands apology. 10 trillion naira compensation to Igbo. News paper page 8 reads, and this one says Pope has mild kidney failure, remains in critical condition, says Vatican. We wish him quick recovery. Then this one says concern as Adeleke swears in newly elected council chairman and councillors. Details read on page 7. 2027, APC wants Tinubu of Southeast risk as El-Rufai seeks alliances to rescue Nigeria. Rescue. Well, a lot of words are being used. Someone is even laughing behind cameras. You know, I know what you did. I know how you feel. Anything about this El-Rufai's movement and all of that, they'll be wondering. He's been in governance. He's been tested. You know, sometimes you will be thinking of how much trust do Nigerians have in some of these politicians. It will take a lot of Nigerians so much time to believe in some of the statements that are being made by some politicians, not all. Because sometimes a politician is talking, and we've heard in the North, was it in the North, that someone was stoned during a campaign. That's to tell you that these people are even tired of what some of the things you're saying. They don't even believe in you anymore. It's just like drama, the way children watch cartoon, just to while away time and all of that. Well, moving away from there, 2027, let's see how that is going to go. Well, we'll also talk about 2027 in the big conversation this morning.
Yes, we will be talking about 2027.
All right. Why you? There was
I just remember
an intensive laughter that came from my colleague while I was talking.
Exactly. No, it was, I don't want to bring out, let's not bring out old laundry. Just talking about the politician that was stoned. People are tired. Well, actually, a lot lot of Nigerians
This manifesto, someone went for a campaign and was stoned. See,
Really?
but then,
because Nigerians are tired. We're tired of going back and forth with these
but
issues.
see, there are some things that needs to be done in this country. Let me tell you one thing.
What?
Some Nigerians don't even know that you can recall a sitting senator. They don't even the process is not easy. But what is worth doing is worth doing well. If anyone is not representing you, you can go to the National Assembly and withdraw the person. Go to the House of Representatives and withdraw the person. If your governor is not doing well, there are ways to go about these things. We've had a program here at Educate Nigerians More than several society organizations.
Need to.
You need to set up. Please rise to the occasion. Support the people. Help them through the process, but then don't just go and say you want to recall someone because it's not your party that won that election. All right. So we need to be civil,
Well, of course
and we need to be truthful in whatever we do.
Ramsey, that process is it's a very long process. You have to have evidence and all of that to prove that this individual is not doing the right thing when it comes to representation. So, like you mentioned, not because it's not from your own political party, you go and write that. No. Of course, there are going to be evidences and all of that. But Nigerians are really tired now. They're becoming aware. We're not believing all of these lies and we'll just let go and say, oh, fine, he'll get better, he'll change. Now, we want action now. People want action now.
Yeah, we want action. That's all from this National Daily. Our time is almost up. Let's see if we can pick one more.
Okay, let's go over to the Nigerian News Direct, and below the nameplate it says above the nameplate, this is very interesting. It says, you return Nigeria to the abyss of pitch darkness, Murik slams IBB. And like you said, this particular memoir is not going well with a lot of people. A lot of individuals are not, swallowing this pill so easily. And below the nameplate says, local government polls, leave Osun alone, don't plunge it into crisis. Makinde tells Osun APC. And you can find that read on page 4. And writer says, as Governor Adeleke swears in newly elected council chairman, don't truncate democracy. Makinde tells federal government. The next writer says, APC fires back, tells Makinde to focus on Oyo's problem, respect party boundaries. And here, the last but not the least says, disregard report stopping council officials from resuming office on Monday. APC. And below that we have NDLE 12's Thai lady smuggling 43 parcels of Canadian loud. If you wonder what loud is all about, of course it's a substance. And here it says features, inauguration day, education, healthcare, security, top priorities for Governor Ayedatiwa deputy. And on page 8, we've read this story. It says we have enough to meet Nigerians' need, and that's from Dangote. And it says Ogun shortlisted to benefit in world's largest protein producer, $2.5 billion investment. And basically that is it on the Nigerian News Direct. And these stories, we've already gone back and forth with them. So
yeah, I think most of the papers have
the same story. Of course, these are top stories making rounds on the newspaper review. Well, you have to just go out and get yourself a copy of the paper for you to be well informed, to know what this is all about, what stories that are making round are all about. To be well informed, that is up is the AM News. Stick around, do not go anywhere. The program continues shortly.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world with our app on Google and Play Store. All you need to do is download Global TV Nigeria on your phone and watch all programs on Global Television. What are you waiting for? Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television. Social, economic, cultural, and political conditions are constantly in flux, requiring regular conversations on the many contexts and informed analysis of their dimensions. Now, these discussions are not just about understanding the present, but about shaping the future. Foremost Bayes University is taking this lead through the Bayes University Debates, hosted by Global Television.
Analyzing and debating issues big and small, Bayes University Debates presents a vibrant forum where we invite academics, intellectuals, and prominent personalities to share their diverse views and ideas on topical issues. Your unique perspective is a valuable addition to our rich intellectual community.
Engage in respectful, challenging debates where we try to find common ground, keep our minds open, and seek truth and understanding.
Don't miss the opportunity to join the conversation on Bayes University Debates at 9 p.m. every last Tuesday of the month, showing on Global Television Channel 365, Star Times Channel 276, free to air on Niconsat. You can also download the Global TV app on the App Store and Google Play Store. Be part of the action.
Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to AM News on Global Television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Jumai Manson. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and free to air on Nicomsat. You can download the Global TV Nigeria mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. Now the news in full. Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has directed the newly elected local government chairman to stay away from the local government council secretariats in order to avoid a breakdown of law and order in the state. Adeleke also charged the officials to work within the manifesto of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, noting that his administration is transforming the state for the better. The governor issued the directives while administering the oath of allegiance and oath of office on the 30 local government chairman and vice chairman at the state government house. Earlier, however, the chairman and councillors have been presented with their certificates of return. Nigerians pose to exit the Financial Action Task Force grey list by the end of 2025, following significant progress in strengthening its anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing. A statement by the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Strategic Communication Office says the development was confirmed during the Financial Action Task Force plenary session held in Paris, where Nigeria's fifth progress report was approved, marking a major milestone in the country's effort to meet international financial crime prevention standards. The Executive Secretary of Tertiary Education Trust Fund, Architect Sonny Echonu, has urged both federal and state government to grant full autonomy to universities. Echonu made the call during a convocation lecture titled University Autonomy and the Challenge of Quality Tertiary Education in Nigeria, held at the Federal University Oyo Ekiti State. He said universities as ivory towers have three core mandates: teaching, research, and community service. Vice President Kashim Shettima has reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to support local farmers through targeted interventions. He said the government will intervene robustly to promote local producers to produce production costs, including single-digit loans. Speaking during the steering committee meeting of the Presidential Food System Coordinating Unit at the Presidential Villa, Shettima, in a statement by his spokesman Stanley Uwocha, said the economic realities facing local farmers demand strategic government intervention to reduce production costs and support local farmers. Over now to stakeholders under the auspices of the Benue State APC Elders Forum has endorsed the removal of the Benue State Chief Judge by the State House of Assembly, noting that the resolution aligns with the constitutional provisions. The forum, during a press briefing, also said it remains resolute in the support of government, assuring that Benue continues at its trajectory of development. Global TV's correspondent Felicity Indere now reports from Makodi.
The resolution to remove the state's Chief Judge, Justice Maurice Ikpemisi, has continued to generate reactions from various sectors of the political landscape. Benue State All Progressive Congress Elders Forum, after a review of the circumstances and allegations surrounding the removal of the state's Chief Judge, insisted that the State House of Assembly acted within the provision of Section 292 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. Chairman of the forum, Senator Barnabas Gamadi, said the allegations entail the action, including misappropriation of funds and abuse of office, amounting to the grievous misconduct.
We stand in solidarity with the Assembly on this decision, especially given the serious allegations that necessitated such action, including mismanagement of a sum of 669,984,000 in less than 1 year.
The group also commended the State House of Assembly for sanctioning the members who attempted to ridicule the image of the House after participating in the voting process for the removal of the Chief Judge.
Benue State House of Assembly has one leadership, enjoys full quorum at all sittings, and has continuously been performing its functions. There is therefore no merit whatsoever in Senator Abamoro's invitation to meddlesomeness.
While reaffirming their resolve in supporting the governor and his good work, the APC Elders Forum urged members of the public to focus on providing quality representation to the people of Benue and shy away from destabilizing the peace of the state. In Makurdi, soliciting.
Ogun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has commended President Bola Tinubu for supporting rule of law that enabled the local government election conducted in the state. Adeleke's spokesperson Olawale Rashid in a statement said the governor disclosed this after casting his vote, where he noted that the president is a true Democrat with huge democratic credentials and stated that his administration has all along been very supportive and collaborative with the federal government. Adeleke also denied what he described as a fake news article in publication about alleged remarks on President Tinubu, saying the news is false. Meanwhile, as Osun State conducted local government council elections across the state, low turnout of voters as well as absence of security operatives in polling units highlighted the exercise. Although some wards and polling units witnessed a large turnout of voters, majority of the units where voting took place recorded low turnout compared to the last governorship election in the state. Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang has suspended all mining activities in the state over security concerns. In an executive order, Mutfwang said the suspension, which is with immediate effect, subsists until further notice. He stated that his administration would carry out a holistic review of the security situation in all the mining areas in Plateau and ensure an appropriate community development agreement to address the socio-economic contributions of the right holders. Minister of Regional Development Abubakar Momo says the federal government has no plan to scrap the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC), saying the commission remains a crucial part of the government's regional growth agenda. Speaking in Abuja during the 2025 ministerial briefing, he noted that the defunct Niger Delta Ministry was integrated into the Border Ministry of Regional Development. He said the ministry is providing 250,000 startup grants to 300 youths who completed vocational training in 2023 in Niger Delta region. As part of the ongoing effort to modernize the nation's custodial facilities, the federal government says President Bola Tinubu has approved the relocation of 29 correctional centers across the country. The Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, stated this during the commissioning of 39 newly acquired vehicles and 5 bullet-resistant guard boots for the Nigerian Correctional Service in Abuja. Tunji-Ojo noted that many of the existing correctional facilities, such as those in Suleja, Niger State, and Ikoyi, Lagos State, were established in the 19th century and were outdated. The Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC Kano Sector Command, has intensified efforts to curb the dangerous practice of mixed overloading of trailers with goods, animals, and human passengers. It was reported that the initiative aims to enhance road safety and prevent fatal crashes resulting from unsafe transportation practices. In a statement, FRSC Kano Public Relations Officer Abdullahi Labaran said the sector commander, CCUM Masarudu, in collaboration with the Nigerian Police Force, conducted a special public sanitization campaign on February 20th, 2025. You're watching the live broadcast of AM News. When AM News returns, Nigerian Immigration Service deport 155 foreigners. We have those details from the foreign scene as well as more stories from business and sports segments for you shortly. Please stay with us.
That global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world with our app on Google and Play Store. All you need to do is download Global TV Nigeria on your phone and watch all programs on Global Television. What are you waiting for? Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Social, economic, cultural, and political conditions are constantly in flux, requiring regular conversations on the many contexts and informed analysis of their dimensions. Now, these discussions are not just about understanding the present, but about shaping the future. Foremost Bayes University is taking this lead through the Bayes University Debates, hosted by Global Television.
Analyzing and debating issues big and small, Bayes University Debates presents a vibrant forum where we invite academics, intellectuals, and prominent personalities to share their diverse views and ideas on topical issues. Your unique perspective is a valuable addition to our rich intellectual community.
Engage in respectful, challenging debates where we try to find common ground, keep our minds open, and seek truth and understanding.
Don't miss the opportunity to join the conversation on Bayes University Debates at 9 p.m. every last Tuesday of the month, showing on Global Television Channel 365, Star Times Channel 276, free to air on Nikensat. You can also download the Global TV app on the App Store and Google Play Store. Be part of the action.
You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is AM News on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. A quick look at business following the ongoing crackdown on illicit drug trade in major drug markets nationwide. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, says it has shut down over 11,000 shops in Aba, Onitsha, and Idumota drug markets, arresting 40 people linked to the sale of unregistered and dangerous drugs. Director General of the agency, Professor Mojishola Adeyeye, disclosed that the NAFDAC has also evacuated over 77 truckloads of illicit and counterfeit drugs. The federal government has allocated 1.99 billion naira to procure diesel for the electric power generators for the State House in 2025. This comes amid delays in the federal government's solar power project, initially stated to come in on stream between December 2024 and January 2025. Details on GovSpend, a civic tech platform that tracks and analyzes the federal government's spending, show 4 separate diesel payments totaling 88.75 million naira between March 15th and May 20th, 2024. The federal government has announced its plans to cancel the visa on arrival policy. Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo made the disclosure while speaking during the closing ceremony of the week-long capacity building training on Advanced Passenger Information Passenger Name Record APR-PNR. Data in National Security and Law Enforcement held at the headquarters of Nigerian Immigration Service in Abuja, and the Event Controller General of Immigration Service, Kemi Napdap, said the program originated from discussions held with the United Nations Organization on Counter-Terrorism in Bangkok, Thailand last year. The National Union of Electricity Employees have issued a 7-day ultimatum to the management of Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company to return to the negotiation table regarding the service no longer required letters given to some affected staff. The union, in a statement issued by Zonal Organizing Secretary 1 Northwest Zone Ayuba Pukat, accused the management of going ahead to serve the affected staff the new letter despite talks between the union and the management. The federal government has announced plans to establish a Gen Bank to preserve the genetic makeup of indigenous livestock breeds and ensure their sustainability to future generations. The Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Maha, made the announcement during the 2025 ministerial press briefing in Abuja. Maha stated that the Gen Bank would enable the country to store in indigenous genetic resources which are naturally disease resistant. The African Development Bank Group, AFDB, has taken a significant step in its fight against corruption and financial crime by signing a letter of intent with the International Criminal Police Organization, Interpol. This collaboration marks the first time a multilateral development bank has partnered with Interpol to enhance efforts against financial crimes. This partnership will strengthen collaboration between the bank's Office of Integrity and Anti-Corruption and Interpol's Financial Crime and Anti-Corruption Center. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, PCCPC, has reiterated the importance of consumer data protection, warning that financial institutions will be held accountable for any breach of customer information. This comes as part of the Commission's broader effort to enhance compliance and protect consumer rights in Nigeria's financial sector. In a statement posted on its official X handle, the Commission said the roundtable discussion was geared towards equipping banking stakeholders with essential compliance knowledge and also a strengthened self-regulation, enhanced consumer protection, and address industry-specific challenges. The federal government has unveiled plans to revamp the National Veterinary Research Institute in Vom, Plateau State, with a target of producing 1.2 billion vaccine doses annually to better meet the country's vaccine needs and address zoonotic diseases. The Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Maha, announced this during the 2025 Ministerial News Conference in Abuja. Maha highlighted that the institute, which had been in existence for more than 100 years, currently operates with outdated equipment and technology, which was insufficient to meet the vaccine requirements for all animal species in Nigeria. On international business now, Apple has taken unprecedented step of removing the highest level data security tool from customers in United Kingdom after government demanded access to user data. Advanced Data Protection, ADP, means only account holders can view items such as photos or documents they have stored online through a process known as end-to-end encryption. However, earlier the month, the UK government asked for the right to see the data which currently not even Apple can access. On the foreign scene, a series of coordinated operations across 3 states, the Nigerian Immigration Service has arrested 155 foreigners. The foreigners were arrested for cyber crimes and unauthorized entry into the country. The arrested foreigners have been deported following orders from the Comptroller General of Immigration Service, Kemi Napdap. A breakdown of numbers shows that 19 legal immigrants involved in cybercrimes designed to defraud unsuspecting Nigerians were arrested in Rivers State in January 2025. Billionaire and head of U.S. Department of Government Efficiency Elon Musk announced all federal employees will receive an email asking them to explain the work they have done over the past week. The employees who fail to respond will be forced to resign. Musk, in his quest to slash government funding and gut the federal workforce, offered a few details, but said the emails are consistent with President Donald Trump's instructions. His post came hours after Trump praised him in a Truth special post for doing a great job, but added he would like to see him get more aggressive. The notorious M23 rebel group in wreaking havoc in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, seizing the region's 2 biggest cities in a deadly uprising which has forced hundreds of thousands to flee their homes. Central to their campaign in the asserting that ethnic Tutsi living in DR Congo are being persecuted. Digging into the status of Tutsi in DR Congo relates to M23 uprising is extremely complex and sensitive matter that goes to the heart of who is considered to be Congolese. South Africa is set to host Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky on a state visit. President Cyril Ramaphosa confirmed on X without giving a specific date. The invite comes at the end of the week, which saw Kyiv excluded from U.S.-Russian talks on how to bring an end to the 3-year war in Ukraine. A statement from the South African presidency, Ramaphosa and Zelensky agreed on the urgent need to an inclusive peace process, a sentiment Zelensky echoed by saying nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine. Veteran Uganda opposition politician Kizza Besigye has been charged with treason in a civilian court after his controversial case was transferred from a military tribunal. Treason is a capital offense in Uganda, and if found guilty, the 68-year-old could be sentenced to death. He was charged alongside 2 other suspects, but they did not enter a plea on the grounds that the charges against them could only be heard in a higher court. Over now to sports, the Tigers moved within one victory of qualifying for the 2025 AfroBasket final after securing a comeback 87-67 win over Uganda in their second Group B qualifier in Tripoli on Saturday. Nigerian team, who defeated host Libya 75-70 in their opening game on Friday, recovered from a halftime deficit to record their second consecutive victory in the final qualifying window. Uganda dominated the exactly exchanges, taking both quarters 16-14, 18-14 to lead 34-28 at halftime. And that's it on AM News. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365, on Star Times channel 276, and free to air on Nicomsat. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using Global TV NG. You can download the Global TV Nigerian app for Android and iOS device to keep track of our broadcast. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching. Good morning.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world with our app on Google and Play Store. All you need to do is download Global TV Nigeria on your phone and watch all programs on Global Television. What are you waiting for? Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Social, economic, cultural, and political conditions are constantly in flux, requiring regular conversations on the many contexts and informed analysis of their dimensions. Now, these discussions are not just about understanding the present, but about shaping the future. Foremost Bayes University is taking this lead through the Bayes University Debates, hosted by Global Television.
Analyzing and debating issues big and small, Bayes University Debates presents a vibrant forum where we invite academics, intellectuals, and prominent personalities to share their diverse views and ideas on topical issues. Your unique perspective is a valuable addition to our rich intellectual community.
Engage in respectful, challenging debates where we try to find common ground. Keep our minds open and seek truth and understanding.
Don't miss the opportunity to join the conversation on Bayes University Debates at 9 p.m. every last Tuesday of the month. Showing on Global Television Channel 365. Star Times Channel 276, free to air on Niconsat. You can also download the Global TV app on the App Store and Google Play Store. Be part of the action.
Welcome back from the AM News on Global Television this beautiful day. It's now time for us to get into the conversation for the day. Well, my name is Ramsey, and of course I have my guests join me in the studio as we talk about the realignment 2027 election. My God, there's so many permutations going on, and of course a lot of people are saying so many things. Alignment and realignment by political office holders, statements from one place to the other. So today, we're looking at 2027 politics, opposition forces align and realignment for presidency in 2027. It's our focus today, and of course my guest is Monday Eje, a legal practitioner and of course a political analyst. It's good to have you join us on the program today.
Thank you for
have I seen you this year? I don't think so.
Yes.
I've seen you this year. Oh, I thought I've seen you for the first time this year. Well,
this will be my second, third time.
It's not enough. Happy New Year. The year, I feel the more you tell people Happy New Year, the newer the year becomes.
Happy New Year to you too.
Thank you. That's on a lighter note. Let's get into the discussion for the day. Well, it's good to smile because it has so much to do with your system, even the way you are smiling right there, right now. Alignment and realignment of political office holders towards 2027. Have you noticed what is happening right now? The big names. Chieftains in the Labour Party and People's Democratic Party have said, hey, come on. 2023 presidential candidate of PDP in the person of Atiku Abubakar should forget about 2027, that, hey, it should still go to the south. One, there is a lot of controversies in the People's Democratic Party right now. Then, the Labour Party's presidential candidate has also made a statement in the past. Then you begin to think about the fact that people move from one political party to the other and try forming alliances, or should I say mergers, so that they can offset a certain government. All of these are tilting towards 2027. Someone says something that's the very first day a politician comes into office, that same day they start planning for the next election. My guest will be answering a few questions and of course analyzing some of these moves right now by political office holders. Do you think it's too early to start preparing for 2027, like some Nigerians are saying, hey, come on, don't focus on 2027 election yet, but focus on governance because the people are facing a lot of hardship. But do you think it's too early to get preparing for 2027?
It's not too early at all. In fact, it's already even late if any political party or candidate has not started preparations for 2027. We're already in 2025. They just have barely a year to use for very serious preparations, consultations here and there, meetings here and there, and then issues of candidacy are not very easy or simple issues that you just wake up and take decisions on. So by the time we realize it, parties are already holding their primaries and then the elections will be fixed. So it's already, I think a serious politician should have been done with his preparations for 2027 elections.
Just in 2025?
Yes.
So it means you're of the same school of thoughts that the very first day politicians get into office, that same day they start preparing for the next election.
Definitely, that is how it should be. Because if you fail to plan, eventually it means you are planning to fail. So I can even tell you that the major gladiator in the scheme of things, as it were, would have been planning this for in the past 10, 15, 20, 30 years. So his options would have been on ground, his decisions would have been taken, and already maybe what he's doing now is achieving the goals he has set for the purpose of clinching or being re-elected again in 2027. So if anybody stands up now and says, oh, this is 2025, there are elections in 2027, and I just want to start preparing for 2027, that person will be telling a big lie. Maybe some of those who even participated in the last general elections took that role or participated in the elections as preparations for 2027. They tested the waters, tested the grounds, put their names there in people's minds, in people's mouths, on the billboards and everywhere. And then, you know, they are also part of the discussion. So definitely some of them knew that they will not get a win in 2023, but they feel that, you know, let people know that I'm around. Maybe I'll be very fortunate in 2027. So when you were doing the introduction to this particular discussion, I heard you mention some of the meetings that are currently going on, the move by a particular known politician from the northern axis trying to build bridges amongst opposition members and then cement relationships here and there, probably with a view to having a consensus candidate on the side of the opposition for 2027. So I'm not surprised, as an astute politician that he is, and having participated in the build-up to the elections that brought in this current political party, and subsequently the current president and government. Let me just mention the name. I'm simply talking about El-Rufai. So El-Rufai haven't been a very, like it or not, these discussions need to be ongoing so that some of the things that the former opposition now turned government of the day, some of the mistakes they made early when they started their bid to take power from PDP will probably be avoided, and I hope it is. But from what I saw in 2023 and what I hear Peter Obi said, with respect to, is not interested in grabbing power, is interested in things that the interest of the country and the citizenry. So anything, any program, any meeting, any initiative that is geared towards just grabbing power without any clear-cut plan or agenda for the people is not interested in it, you know that you'll be able to hazard a guess that they must have had some very serious conversations with respect to how to go about 2027. But my fear still remains that will these people, will they allow one person to take the front seat amongst themselves while others, delay or postpone their own interests? Do they do that? This is one question that I'm not seeing my way through with respect to an answer to. So if these politicians, the opposition, will not come together as one, then we'll have a big problem already. Because I think, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, I heard about this mass defection from one of the parties to another party, to APC. And some northern voices were saying, oh, I think it was from Northeast or so, I can't really, but I know there was this mass exodus of party members into the APC. And some people were saying, oh, it's not going to change anything. But I don't think it will not change anything, because as a politician, your first interest is to win elections. Whether we like it or not, it's not about the people, it's just a normal principle of success. If I'm a politician, I should contest and win elections. That's what makes me a politician. So if at the end of the day, we have people defecting from, if I'm one, for example, I'm moving from my party to another party, it should give me a cause of concern. And those that are moving, do we blame them? I don't think so.
But there is this culture of people moving from other parties to the ruling party. Number one, for minority reasons, because some persons, every one of them have their reasons. Someone like Ned Moko, he said he wasn't getting the support from his governor also concerning the Anioma State of a thing. That's what the reason he brought to the fore. But there might be so many other things to that. For some persons, they feel we don't need to stay in this minority party in preparation for 2027, and they decide to move from one party to the other. The issue of cross-carpeting, because we're talking of aligning and of course realigning of politicians towards 2027 election. Now, what would you have to say about cross-carpeting? You talked about El-Rufai a moment ago. El-Rufai is someone that has been a minister, and of course he has been a governor, meaning he has been in governance for a period of time. And these people need to be tested and trusted for them to get a vote again if we want to go by a free and fair election anyway. As it is right now, looking at the caliber of the person that El-Rufai is, because some persons are already making statement that the way he's going, walking, moving about with Atiku, has he become a PA to Atiku and all of that. Some persons made that statement. Now, looking at, he is an APC, I hope you remember, and this is someone now trying to bring people together, war oppositions, so that they can form alliance against his own party. Don't you think a wise and smart politician will be thinking otherwise? Being in a particular party for several years, then all of a sudden you're coming to fight against the party, and some Nigerians are saying all of this is happening because he didn't get a space, a place to be a minister because of what happened in Kaduna State that was held against him during the screening.
Well, El-Rufai's being in APC and then win opposition against his own party is not a new precedent. It's not something new. There's been precedents for that. In fact, one of the major actors in this current government is known to be a political, how will I call it now, they used to describe him as a political merchant at some point in time. He knows that, oh, this thing, I can't get it. But we'll discuss with someone if he knows or feels he will get it and canvass votes for that person. Without, he doesn't do it personally. But somehow you will see that, oh, maybe the governor, the gubernatorial elections goes to his party, and then the presidential election goes to the opposition. It has happened before, you know. So, and then we can take a cue also from the recent events with respect to Nyesom Wike and how he has gone about. He's in PDP, but he's also in romance with the APC. And we saw the outcome in Rivers State during the 2023 presidential elections. So if El-Rufai is also flying the same jet, we shouldn't be surprised. It's just that maybe it just gives the impression that we are not very serious-minded people. We are not people who are principled, who are rooted in ideological politics. So that is the picture, that is the impression, the perception that we create and we give to people. If not, I don't see why I'll be in a party and then be openly canvassing for support for forces against that same party. I think the noble thing for anybody to do part-time is to exit the party if you are no longer comfortable with what is happening within the party, and then proceed to create alliances or join new political parties. But like I said, it is what it is. They are not, our politics is not being run on ideology. In fact, let me say, the first time you will have something like an inkling of ideology is probably the current government, because everybody knows that, oh, they are capitalist driven and in terms of their economic policies, while at the same time trying to see how they can give the impression that they are trying to reach out to MSMEs and so on and so forth. But from the way the policies we've seen, the economic policies we've encountered since 2023, you know that they are basically capitalist driven. Now for others, I don't know whether they are pro-capitalist, whether they are socialist, whether it's just a potpourri of whatever it is. But now El-Rufai is doing this on the one side, and then we are ordinarily expecting that some people are saying, oh, he's disenchanted, maybe because he lost out from the ministerial bid and so on and so forth. Well, I don't know the behind the scenes politics that played out within the party at that time. But what I know is that there was a last meeting he had with the president, and after which he left the country and said he was going to go after some academic pursuits. And here we are, he's running his politics. So we give it to him. Maybe he's taking his cue from the FCT minister, and he's doing what exactly he is doing. But where will it lead? Where will all of this lead?
That's the question I wanted to ask. This is not a true practice of democracy. That doesn't pass a good message to people who are coming up. And that's to tell you that this politics is becoming a politics of interest, personal interest, and not the interest of the people anymore. And so as it is right now, 2027, some persons are saying, well, it is not easy to offseat a sitting government, especially after their first term. Now, there is this advice coming from some chieftains of the People's Democratic Party and Labour Party for Atiku Abubakar that he should forget about 2027. And some persons have made some statements that Atiku Abubakar is not someone that gives up easily. But then, what would you say about that advice?
Well, I'll start from here. I think it was towards the end of last week, the media was agog with the fact that former military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida wrote a book, and that book was launched, and with all of the things that accompanied, the issues that accompanied it. But you see, the elder statesman, IBB, had also tried to be elected a civilian president, and somehow he didn't achieve it. He tried, he bought forms on 1 or 2 or 3 occasions. Somehow there's this rumor that the government of the day at the time was not disposed to his candidacy, and then he dropped the bid. Now, I think Atiku's best moment was when he allowed former President Olusegun Obasanjo to take the second bite at the cherry. That was his best moment. He had everything set for him to become the next president. Because what played out at the time was that while the former president was going around trying to take care of the international front with respect to our relationship with them and our financial status and all of that, trying to get debt relief and whatnot, Atiku Abubakar handled the whole front, particularly the economic policy, the privatization and the deregulation policies at that time. So it was very powerful. He had the resources, he had everything, and it was even rumored that it was pleaded with that the former president had to persuade him somehow to allow him contest. So he lost, he agreed. I don't know what arrangement it was they had. It never materialized. So now Atiku has been contesting for primaries in PDP, and he has been picking that ticket. And the reason why this issue of South-North appears to have lost its place in PDP politics is because of what happened during the Yar'Adua's era. So we had a Goodluck Jonathan who had been vice president, I think, for about 2 years. Then his principal lost his life, and then at the end of the day, it took the next 2 years amidst serious opposition from the north. But of course, the constitution permits him to take that seat, so he rightfully did. After those 2 years, the north says, oh, this ticket is for us, this seat is for us, please can we take it again for the next 4 years? And they say, oh, no. I think Baba was also in the mix at that time too. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo, was one of those who persuaded and said, look, allow him, he's just going to do 1 term and he will leave. Now, he got it, he did his 1 term, plus the 2 years he took, that's 6 years. instead of him to quietly sit back and allow the PDP's rotational presidency north-south to play the lead role in deciding. No, he will not agree. Some of his statesmen, one of them just passed recently, was busy up and down, threatening brimstone and fire, and so on. And that is where the problem lies. Everything that is happening today politically has its immediate cause from that particular decision. So he decided to contest, and they lost it to the current government. So since then, and when it came to the time for primaries again, the likes of Atiku and others kept on saying, no, this arrangement was not kept at the time we ought to keep it. Let us go to the field. And they kept on going to the field. And as you know what plays out now. The person who has that thing definitely will pick the ticket. And that is where we are. Is Atiku right? Yes. He has the constitutional right to contest elections, regardless of what the party constitution or the party convention or arrangement is. It is right. So you can always go there, but whether you win or not, it depends on what the general party. So in other words, Atiku can still contest if he wants to.
Okay, that's the question I wanted to ask, because I wanted to ask if you are foreseeing Atiku in 2027.
That is his constitutional right. But if you ask me, that outside this constitutional right, if you take other factors into consideration, should Atiku still contest? I will say no. Okay. Because it's not doing the party any good. And it will not do the opposition any good.
But with the problem in the People's Democratic Party, don't you even think that fielding a presidential candidate is going to be a problem if this situation is not being arrested before time? Remember the G5 governors, then the wicked faction, the National Secretary Division in the National Working Committee, and everything happening in the People's Democratic Party.
Forget about PDP for now. I'm not seeing them in any serious contest for the 2027 general elections. Period. I'm not. So if you take out the PDP, what else is left of the opposition? PDP appears to be the biggest opposition party that we have today, if you go by the books and what we have. Whether they are playing that role actively is what I do not know. The same way that we describe Nigeria as the big brother of Africa, and then when you begin to ask yourself whether we are actually playing that role or we have that status outside what the books have told us, then it becomes another issue. It's the same way that I'm considering all of this. So at the end of the day, they are big opposition, they are empty opposition as far as I'm concerned. That house has not been put together till today. Maybe by this night they call themselves, they hold the meeting, they decide who takes what, and that is what the older generation that is currently being phased out, that was what they had going on for them. They could sit down and reach decisions. Oh, you take this, you take that. It was what the likes of the current president also did. Oh, okay, if I probably contest now, I won't get it. Let Buhari go. After Buhari, then I take a bite at it. And they were able to win. Initially, before now, they've had several meetings to get themselves together, and they never succeeded. So Atiku has that constitutional right too, but I will advise that he shouldn't. Because if he had not done it in 2023, if he had allowed a southern candidate in 2023, there is a high possibility that the contest would have been better contested than the way it went. Because the spill out was the exit of the likes of the Labour Party candidate Peter Obi, and we saw how the votes went. So you can imagine those votes consolidated and they being for PDP. You can imagine how the outcome would have been. But as we speak currently, that unity is not there amongst the opposition. So if election holds today, it's going to be a walkout.
It's going to be a walkout for APC.
For the president to stand in National Assembly and announce
he is found elected.
What are we saying?
Well, we're talking about it's Nigerian politics. We're talking about right here on Global Morning today on Global Television, and as a matter of fact, we are looking at alignment and realignment of oppositions in 2027. What's the possibility right now? How strong are the political parties that should actually give the ruling party a run for their money? That's what we're talking about this morning. Atiku Abubakar and PDP, one faction of PDP, remember. Then the Labour Party. Let's talk about the Labour Party a little bit, because if you say there is no party to give APC a run for their money, the first two parties that would come to mind is the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party, who had their presidential candidates in 2023 to be His Excellency Peter Obi, who had made a statement in the national dailies a few days ago, was it yesterday or thereabout, that he is not, underlines that was on Saturday, he said he is not desperate for the ticket in 2027. Is that a political statement, or he meant it?
Well, it was William Shakespeare who said there is no heart finding the mind's construction on the face. So he has said what he said. Even the devil will not be able to say what his intents are. But on the face of it, I've seen his efforts. Initially, when they lost, after they lost the election, it was a little bit quiet. He wasn't talking much. He was just observing until one of the major loyalists he had, I think Barrister Okonkwo, who was a former actor, so Kenneth Okonkwo, made some comments with respect to the, how will I call it now, passive posture that Peter Obi took with respect to political discourse at the time. And now he's talking, he's saying, he's criticizing government, at least he's saying, so you will know that there's this effort on his side to still be relevant, at least at the level of the opposition. Now, is he desperate? I've not seen anything about him that says he's desperate. But is he ambitious? Yes, he is ambitious, and he should be concerned about what happens to that ambition. Not just because of himself, but because many Nigerians place so much reliance and hope on him. So it should also give him a reason. Well, I think the problem is with the word desperate. But if you can pick the definition of desperate and just slam it on yourself and ensure you get that ticket and eventually get that election, because a lot of people feel there is a special breed from the old politician. A lot of people, whether I share that opinion or not, I won't want to state it here anyway, but a lot of people just anchor their hopes on him. So if he doesn't want those people's hopes dashed, he should please try and be desperate, because Nigerian politics is not meant for passive people. It is meant for desperate, die-hard people.
All right, that's politics, so that's Nigerian politics. But then, what about the trouble in the Labour Party? Remember, it's not just in PDP that will have troubles, because
the Labour Party's trouble is the most surprising to me. Going by the way they came up, by the things they said during the electioneering campaign, the high hopes they gave people, the notion people had that they will play politics differently. Events in recent times have shown that they are basically part of the bulk. They are the same people. Earlier on, when I just spoke, I said I don't want to go into too much analysis as to whether Peter Obi is not this or that or that. But you see, that Labour Party is not different from the other parties. They have their crisis. The first crisis was with respect to transparency, financial accountability. From the elections, the first issue was whether or not they released money to pay agents, whether the agents were paid, whether somebody was supposed to render a particular account and did not render, then the issue of the chairmanship here and there and so on and so forth, and the Olodia-Papa issue, who should fill in the gap, whether their chairman should remain, and all whatnot. It's not basically different. It's what we have been used to from the PDP and the APC. And that's what is still playing out. And of course, you can't take it away from them, the fact that some of the people who were in these two major parties found themselves in the Labour Party. So they bring in those antics there, and then all whatnot will begin to happen. And of course, the conspiracy theorists are also there, who have said that, the people causing the crisis within the party are being sponsored and so on and so forth. We always create excuses for bad behavior in this country. So we are where we are. And that is why I said earlier on that this 2027 election, the way things currently stand, appears to be a walkover. Whether people go out to vote or not, it remains a walkover. Because the issue is that many people are already disillusioned with what is happening, particularly with the Labour Party. So we might not even get, if you conduct elections today, it's possible you will not get people come out to vote the way they did in 2023.
That's certain, because a lot of people were disappointed.
Disappointment is, I think so, even though I'm not...
Have you forgotten what happened in 2023, that people had to travel all the way from abroad to come vote? And that was when people were clamoring for people voting from the diaspora, and so much happened in 2023 just because of a candidate that Nigerians believed in. But then what happened. We're actually looking forward to what will happen in 2027 if Peter Obi is still going to garner that support that he got in 2023. But then you said something very vital, that for him not to dash the confidence of the people, not for the people to feel betrayed, his ambition still needs to be intact, and all of that. A very big thank you to you very much, Barrister, for being part of the program today. Well, this is politics, of course, and you can't finish talking about it.
Exactly.
You can't finish talking about it. LFI 2027, what are you thinking? All right, Atiku Abubakar, is he coming again? What about Peter Obi? Is he stepping down for someone else? Are you foreseeing a merger? All these are questions in the heart of Nigerians, and a lot of people are looking forward to 2023. Are you also of the opinion that, well, the ruling party cannot be pushed aside easily in every election? I don't know, but so much in the heart of Nigerians right now. All of this will be unfolding gradually as we move towards 2027, and a lot of people are already doing the calculations and the permutations, and of course the visit alignment and realignment towards 2027. Let's keep our fingers crossed and see what will happen in 2027. Once again, thank you very much for joining us on the conversation.
Thank you for having me.
This is the size of the first conversation. Are you thinking about technology? Are you thinking about fintech? What is on your mind? Have you been betrayed by the financial sector in recent time? How difficult is it for you to access your capital? What have you faced taking loan from the commercial banks in Nigeria? Do you think the fintech will do us better in this nation, looking at the economy right now? All of this will be unfolding in the second conversation. Stay with us on Global Morning as we bring you the second conversation, and we will be back after this break. Stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues,
and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range are the latest news making rounds on Global Money.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world with our app on Google and Play Store. All you need to do is download Global TV Nigeria on your phone and watch all programs on Global Television. What are you waiting for? Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Social, economic, cultural, and political conditions are constantly in flux, requiring regular conversations on the many contexts and informed analysis of their dimensions. Now, these discussions are not just about understanding the present, but about shaping the future. Foremost Bayes University is taking this lead through the Bayes University Debates, hosted by Global Television.
Analyzing and debating issues big and small, Bayes University Debates presents a vibrant forum where we invite academics, intellectuals, and prominent personalities to share their diverse views and ideas on topical issues. Your unique perspective is a valuable addition to our rich intellectual community.
Engage in respectful, challenging debates where we try to find common ground, keep our minds open, and seek truth and understanding.
Don't miss the opportunity to join the conversation on Bayes University Debates at 9 p.m. every last Tuesday of the month, showing on Global Television Channel 365, Star Times Channel 276, free to air on Niconsat. You can also download the Global TV app on the App Store and Google Play Store. Be part of the action.
Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
Welcome back from that break. The first conversation was so intense. We would have loved to continue, but then what do we do to time? Can we turn back the hands of time? Never. That can never happen. But then the second conversation has to do with the presidency throwing their wings behind Nigerian fintech. What do you think about fintech? We have an expert joining us on the conversation, and the Tag Team Monday will also be here to make this conversation really worth it. What are we talking about? Digital inclusion. President Tinubu pledges support for fintech. And joining us on the conversation this morning is Dr. Mukhtar Mohammed. He's an investment banker and, of course, economic analyst, I beg your pardon. Now, let's talk about it. Fintech in Nigeria. I think it's something to talk about. We may not be mentioning the name of some fintechs in Nigeria, but you know that lately POS started taking the front stage because people no longer patronize the automated teller machine like they used to do in the past. But then we establish some facts right now, what is behind all of that. An expert is joining us. It's good to have you join us on the conversation this morning, Mukhtar.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Before Mukhtar joins us, do you know what happened? Yesterday, I completely forgot how to use the automated teller machine. I forgot because I'm so used to the point of sale. It got that so bad. I thought you don't use it all the time. I think I've not used it in like a year.
Oh, that's a long time.
Really, like a year. I mean, it's always the point of sale because it's easier to assess. It's easier when you just go and you just say, okay, give me this particular amount. They can give you the amount instead of standing in front of the automated teller machine and they have to tell you if you're going to use another bank, it's 10,000 naira, then your bank is 20,000 naira. But when you do not have access to your own bank, you have to go to another bank. That queue of waiting and so I completely forgot.
Yeah, of course, if you're withdrawing 10,000 naira, the charges is different. 20,000. The charges is different.
Especially when you want like 50,000 naira, 100,000.
Especially when you're using a different bank.
Exactly.
And one very funny thing is, if you're using the card, all right, in a different bank that is not yours, and peradventure anything happens, network failure, or maybe the machine gets off and stuck, and your card is stuck in there. My God, I had the experience some times back, and I was asked to go back to my own bank, and I was like, hey, come on. Go open this machine and bring out my card. It's simple. What's difficult there? They were like, you don't know what you're talking about. This is a principle. This is what we do. I said, okay.
I think it's all about security and safety.
Yeah, that's it. But
they'll tell you that you cannot, other cards are there, you have to prove it, and all of that. But that has
my name is on the card. And I just used it. and it was early. It could be that it's only my car that's there, but then it's their way, their policy. So, well, who am I? All right, that's by the way. But then, what about these banks that are using very obsolete ATMs?
Really?
The automated teller machine is obsolete. If you even look at it, the operation, I'm not talking about those that uses screen touch, the sophisticated ones. The very old one that you need to punch, press very hard for you to actually get the fingers pumping out. All of this culminates into the reason why some persons are really going for fintech. But then what about the manipulations with the fintech?
Exactly.
There is one of our colleagues that had an awful experience. Someone just came in the name of a fintech and said, well, I want to do a transfer and all of that, and about, was it 60,000 or 160,000 was withdrawn. I loved everything was seen, but at the end of the day, it was fake. It was manipulated by some fraudsters, and she had to pay that money through her notes and all of that. These are some of the experiences that people are having with this fintech. But then having the presidency support fintech right now is if that we are going to have an improved version of their operations. Then you begin to think of where their offices are, how they can be traced if there are problems.
Yes, I was going to say that, how they can be traced if there are any issues. And I think it's a good thing that it's coming up, and of course the presidency is in support of it. These are like small scale businesses, in order for individuals to be employed in the country. So at the same time, being traced is very important, and maybe there's going to be a policy behind all of that. So let's just hope and see. I hear our guest is on now.
Yeah, our guest is on. Dr. Mohammed, good morning once again.
Good morning. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now, loud and clear. Thanks for joining us on the conversation this morning.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
All right, digital inclusion. President Tinubu pledges support for fintech. What do you think about fintechs?
Well, I listened to you and your colleague in the studio. Of course, what I think about fintech is what you're already enjoying. When you look at means of transactions, because of the number of people that use fintech, and you have different fintech, it's seamless. You don't have those challenges that you have with ATM machines sometimes. Then they are rich in terms of reach. Now, if you look at the rural area, they seem to have been one of the best in reaching out to the rural area. Then they are rich to the most vibrant sector of the Nigerian economy, which is the SME sector, the small businesses, especially the market women. Virtually every market woman now has a fintech account app web. So definitely that tells you how efficient they have been. And if you want that sector to continue to be vibrant like it always should be, then you need the fintech companies. And I think they played a big role in that space now. A lot of students also use those fintech companies. If you look at them, students that are outside, also they largely also use the fintech companies also as a means of doing their transactions. So it seems to be the new bank of the ordinary Nigeria. So I'm not surprised when the government decide to put their weight behind them.
Okay, you want to
Yes, I want to ask a question. Good morning, Dr. Mukhtar. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
All right. I want, for someone out there who is wondering, what is this digital inclusion all about, and why is it important for economic development in Nigeria?
Well, digital inclusion is more or less ease of doing business. Let me say that you don't have to go to your bank, especially with the advent of smartphones, with the advent of telecommunication phones, and also with the security challenges that we have in the country now, and with the ease of doing business. I can do a transaction with you in Abuja without you even seeing me. All I need is, you have a goods, then I buy your goods here, and I just do the transfer to your account. Not to those days that you have to go to the bank, I have to collect your account, I have to go, if you are banking with a particular bank, I have to go to that particular bank to send it. But digital inclusion is that from the comfort of your home, you can decide to do businesses, which is That's what we mean about digital inclusion. And like I said, Nigerians have a challenge with inclusion, especially financial inclusion. But with the coming up of these fintech companies, they've been able to bridge the gap, even if we still have a lot of Nigerians that are still struggling in terms of financial inclusion. But digital inclusion is more or less the ease of doing businesses. That's what I can say, especially when it's a financial type of business transaction between one person and the other without coming in contact with them.
I asked you one question, and I said, why is it important for the economic development in Nigeria?
Well, the importance of the economic development in Nigeria, like I said during my introduction, if you go to the market now, everybody seems to be using the fintech companies because of their low volume in terms of customers that are using them, or because the efficiency of their app in transaction is easy for customers and to transact businessmen are more confident with them. So it has helped also in reducing the volume of cash transaction in the system. If you look at the report that comes in, you see that the volume of digital transaction, cashless transaction has improved greatly. And this is largely driven by the fintech company. But again, we need to know that the fintech company also cannot work on their own. They are not a normal bank. So you have to also link them with your bank account. So by doing that also, you are also involving the normal conventional banks, and also the normal conventional banks are benefiting from the game of the fintech companies. So that is added to the economic importance of the fintech company to the Nigerian economy.
All right. What are the limitations of the fintech?
I think you have said one of those limitations in your studio when I was listening to in terms of security. Who do I talk to? Where is their location? Sometimes when I have an issue, you have to transact with them online. Sometimes the response from their customer care may not be prompt. You have an issue with your app, your money was taken, like you talked about your colleagues. Those are mostly the challenges that they are facing. And these are because it's a back end thing. I'm not saying who I'm transacting business with. So that for me is the major challenges that they have been having. And I think that also is what the CBN and others have been trying to work. I remember before now, virtually everybody has a fintech account, but at the point the CBN came out that they must do KYC, know your customer. They had to fill in data, and thank God for the advent of NIN and other. But outside of that, there's still that challenge. The normal challenge is globally, even when it comes to financial transaction. But with digital transaction now, it's more because of it's not a face-to-face contact, like I said. So a lot need to improve in terms of cyber security, both from the fintech company and from the CBN.
All right. Let's talk about the manipulations that happens with the fintech. There is this speculation that the commercial banks fight the fintech, stopping them from operations because they foresee that in the nearest future their activities may be taken over by the commercial bank, is that by the fintech, meaning commercial banks' activities and most of their operations being taken over by the fintech. Taking an instance from the point of sales, the patronage they get, sometimes you even go to the front of some banks, you see point of sale agents and all of that. Are you of the same school of thought that with time, fintech might be taking over the financial sector?
Well, I'm not enough. I know that the fintech technology will keep on evolving. We'll have more financial inclusion. We'll have more ease of doing business. But them taking over the banking, I don't think that is possible. Like I said, when you do those transactions through your fintech app, there's a particular amount that goes to the fintech company, and there's a particular amount that goes to the bank. So there's what we call the profit sharing in that. And secondly, one thing you need to know that the banks themselves are now having holding companies. Virtually all Nigerian banks have holding companies, and some of those holding companies have payment systems which are going to compete favorably with the fintech companies. So in going forward, what we might see going forward is that most of the banks might be buying off some of these fintech companies because they have the financial might to improve it. And we have seen that coming up with even the telecom company. Also, they have now involved in mobile banking. So there's also a lot of competition between them, between the fintech company, the normal conventional bank, and the telecom companies also. But what you need to know is like I said, the financial companies now, the banks themselves are becoming holding companies, and in some of these holding companies, they have been now beginning to build up their own fintech app. That's why you see a different banks have different payment system that you can pay through through them now, rather than even going through the fintech company. And what they are trying to sell is they have a larger reach, especially in terms of when you have challenges, you can walk into some of these banks. And also because then they will now reduce your cost of transaction. If you transact through the bank, you don't have to pay. You pay one of them, paying both the bank and the fintech company. So the competition will be there. But if the fintech company will be able to withstand the bank, is something, and I don't think will happen, because you are looking at a Nigerian bank with a capital base of about 500 billion, minimum capital base of 500 billion, and you are looking at the fintech companies. That capital base is not even up to 10% of what the commercial banks are having. So I think what will happen in the long run, you could see some of these fintech companies being owned by this bank going forward, and and also you could see some of these fintech companies also growing up to become a commercial bank also. So it's going to be a win-win for the financial sector in Nigeria and for Nigerians. But saying that there is saboteur, this and that, I don't think that. There's competition between both the fintech companies. Not only the fintech company, POS terminals also have those competitions, and also you have other competition coming up from the normal commercial banks also. So in all of this, remember that the commercial bank if you look at the POS terminal, where does he get his cash from? He goes to the commercial bank. If you look at the fintech company, where do they link their transaction to? Goes to the commercial bank. So the commercial banks are the one, like you say, they are the overall overall boss, if I use that, and everybody goes through them. So I don't think we'll come to a point whereby the banks, but I think we'll come to that point whereby some of these fintech companies might be owned by the bank, and some of these fintech companies also could metamorphose into a conventional banking conglomerate.
All right, now, Dr. Mukhtar, let us look at Tinubu's pledge to support fintech. And now, how does it aim to enhance access to financial services for underserved Nigerian population?
You see, when you say you want to, when the president say you want to support the fintech companies, I think the only way you can support them is to improve infrastructure, is to improve security, is to improve movement, so that they can also penetrate into the rural areas. So that is, for me, that's the only thing. The people said, okay, the president is going to be a shareholder of the fintech companies. No, I think what he's saying about that is to improve, like some of the, if in that meeting you see that some of the fintech companies are talking about building a larger backbone system that will also be able to take care of large volume of transaction, rather than paying some of these costs to other countries. Those costs will come to them. Those are part of the way the president can support. I think is in the area of infrastructure. And I think the Minister for Communication and Digital Economy has also talked about that, and that's why they are trying to build a lot of digital app all over the country. So for things like this to scale through, I think basically you need to create the right environment for them to be able to strive, to be able to compete, to come up with the right policy, and also to see how they can build a stronger communication system for them, whereby maybe through the Nigerian Communication Commission, through the Ministry of Communication, they can come up together and build what I have called the shared infrastructure, like what is done globally, whereby different financial institutions come in to build a very large network, a very large backbone in terms of network infrastructure, communication infrastructure, and they use it, and that reduces the cost of fee that their customers will have to pay for transaction.
Now let us look at the rural and urban communities in Nigeria. Now how can fintech come in by bridging that gap between them?
I think the way the fintech should come in by bridging that gap between them, maybe we'll get to the era where what we used to have in the telecom sector, whereby they will tell you that you buy a SIM and a phone, because some of these rural people also do not have access to good smartphones. So that's why if you look at the rural area, If you look at the rural area, the POS terminal seems to be the gods in those places. They tend to deal with the POS terminal. And I think that's the way that the government have tried to address the challenges of financial inclusion in the rural area, coming up with the POS terminal. But for the fintech companies, it might be difficult, especially when you look at the high cost of owning a phone these days. Is talk less of having a smartphone. But again, that's where the banks have come in also by saying that you can use your phone no matter with smart codes that they use, *123, *334, and # that and that. So also that is a means of doing financial inclusion without you having a smartphone. Some of these banks has gone even as far that you can use your phone even without having network on your phone. You can do a banking transaction. So those are the beauty of competition, the beauty of having somebody to compete against somebody. But for the fintech company, if you really want to have that financial inclusion in the rural area, I think they also begin to think how they can partner them in terms of having smartphone.
All right, as an investment banker, let's quickly look at some of the activities of commercial banks in Nigeria as it has to do with the way, number one, the way their services are being rendered. A lot of Nigerians complain about the services being rendered by some of these commercial banks in Nigeria, especially when it has to do with maybe when you want to open your account, everything is smooth and seamless. But when it comes to withdrawal or one or two services, you have a lot of things not going the way it ought to go. And we've had a lot of Nigerians even complaining. Some will tell you, hey, me having anything to do with the commercial banks, no, God forbid. Remember the issue of cash scarcity that happened recently, that the Apex Bank will have to find some commercial banks and all of that. A lot of Nigerians are dissatisfied with the services of the commercial banks in Nigeria. Don't you think that is going to give the fintech more grounds in Nigeria than it is right now?
Already they're having their grounds. So they're already having that ground. That's why I said if you go to the market today, virtually every business owner, every market woman have a fintech account that he wants you to do transaction with. Look, the fintech also have their own challenges. You know, sometimes also they have the challenges of, like you said, security challenges. Sometimes also they still have the same challenges that we have with the bank. So, when a big elephant fall down, there's definitely going to be shaking of the ground. I think that's what is really happening with the commercial banks. When you look at cashless, the cashless policy, you can give it to them. They've really tried driving that. They may not have hit the peak that they want to hit, but again, you will see a lot of improvement from the commercial bank. When you said about cash scarcity of cash, you know, that also was largely driven also by the CBN. You see, let me give you an example. Like a colleague was saying in the studio, he said that he couldn't remember when last he used an ATM terminal. And when he went there, he was confused because of how to use it, because he was so used to using the POS terminal because of the availability of cash in the POS terminal. And you saw the CBN saying, no, banks will be fine if you don't have cash in your POS. And you never saw any public finding of any bank for that for those issues. Why? Because the CBN really knew the cause of the problem, why cash were not in those ATM machines, and majorly had to do with the cost of maintenance of those ATM machines, especially when they are outside the banking hall. And what did they do? They decided to come together and then begin to increase fee on any transaction that you do outside ATM that are not in the banking hall, and then also ATM that are other banks' ATM. So they looked at it that the present cost in terms of transaction cost is not more valuable or marketable again. It's making them operating a loss. So the way he can do that was to increase their fee. And today I can tell you that if you go to most of these ATMs that were not working before, they begin to work again. So sometimes when you see this thing comes in the open, you blame the bank, but you also know that there's a harm behind most of them. These banks are regulated, so they can't continue to commit such infringement always and always, and the regulators knows that they are supposed to do it and they are not finding them. Then you should know that the regulators know what the challenges are. Currently, the challenges with most fintech companies, in banking sector, is in terms of infrastructure. Because of the population, since the age of financial inclusion, and like I said, the fintech company have each that burden a little, but there's still a lot of work to be done because a lot of Nigerians are still not capturing those financial inclusion, especially in the rural area, like I said. So a lot of work still need to be done. But again, I don't think we should crucify the financial banks and the financial institution because we now have a fintech company. We tend to say, oh, they've not done well. But we also must know that they are in there to do business. They are in there to make profit for their shareholders. So definitely anything that is not profitable, they don't want to go into it. And the CBN knows about that.
Okay. When you talk about fintech, all right, we're talking about digital inclusion here. When you talk about fintech, there are some people in Nigeria that until tomorrow, if you tell them anything about fintech, they'll say, no, it'll not be me and you. As a matter of fact, right now, what do you think should be done for Nigerians to seriously believe in this fintech? I could remember just that we've talked about that already. That has to do with security. Someone was sending me an account number from one of these fintech companies, and I discovered that this person is a fraudster. The person had already hacked the account of my elder brother, and he was already talking to me like he was talking to I said my elder brother was the one talking to me, and he was already asking for 120,000 naira, and the account he sent to me claiming that his account is bad was a fintech account with a name, and that account cannot be traced. As a matter of fact, what do you think can be done? Because some Nigerians, if you say fintech, they don't even want to hear about it at all. What level of awareness do you think the people should get to at least believe in the fintech to an extent?
I think it has to do with cybersecurity. We need to improve our cybersecurity space, and in doing that, it's very expensive. Improving your cybersecurity space is not something that you just overnight. It has to come with a lot of cost. And sometimes why you see these things happen, because the fintech companies also are thinking of ways they can improve businesses without incurring so much cost on the consumer. So they don't have the resources to have a very robust cybersecurity network like what even if you have in the banks, because sometimes in the bank you have those challenges, but again, tracing them sometimes is easy. And again, in terms of tracing, I think also that comes down to our law. Our law sometimes is very funny. You go to the bank, because no matter the transaction you're going to use with this fintech company, it's going to come through the bank. So they are going to make that withdrawal, that transfer through the bank. Then you go to the bank and you make complaints, and the bank will tell you that they are not in their positions to follow up, to block that account, to stop the money. You have to go to the police. The police have to give you a police report before you now come back to the bank. In the process of doing that, a lot of people also get to continue to see their money leave the account, because it takes time. Of course, you know what happens when you go to the police station to report a case like that. You ask you so many questions, you have to fill, you have to write. They will say, oh, they have to go through the anti-fraud. So I think some of the challenges that the fintech are facing is a structural challenge. If I make a complaint globally in the international bank, if I come to the bank and say, look, my funds have been tampered with, what the bank will first of all do is to tell me how much is that fund, and they will return that fund for me while they continue their investigation. And that that transaction might not be able to go through. There are some countries like the United States of America, if you do a transaction with somebody new and that transaction is on the digital platform like what we have here in Nigeria, they have a particular type of app there. When you do that transaction, it takes 24 hours before you get to the person, because they will now look at, have you done that transaction with that person before? If no, there's a minimum amount that can be credited to that company. In case it's a fraudulent activities, within 24 hours they will be able to stop it and resolve it. So we need to begin to look at global best practice in terms of running some of these fintech apps. What have been the practice? What have they been doing? So that's what we need to copy. We begin to do. So I think basically the challenge with the fintech company has to do with security, and it has to do with cyber security. Then we have the fundamental issue of security itself, the physical security, reporting fraudulent activities to the bank, and the bank not having the power to stop that transaction. Even when they see that it's fraudulent, you still have to get a police report. For me, that's the challenge, and I think it's when this fintech comes together, the Ministry of Communication, the Ministry of Finance, and also the Ministry of Defense or that is in charge of security come together and begin to map up a roadmap on how to handle fraudulent activities.
All right, Dr. Mukhtar, I want to put you on the spot as an investment banker and economic analyst. Now, looking at this digital inclusion and the pledge by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to support them when it comes to fintechs and all of that, do you think when it comes to play, it will actually stand the test of time? Like the banking industry have been here for a very long time. Do you think this will actually work out? And is it for the benefit of Nigerians, which is the core
That's
focus?
the new normal. That's the new normal. He will definitely work out. That's the new normal. Like I said, a lot of banks also are having fintech arms. So that's the new normal. So it will definitely work out. I think it's something that has come to stay. If you look at the current rebasing of the Nigerian economy, why we are getting the kind of rebasing coming back to be one of the largest economy in Africa again is because of the capture of the fintech companies. They were not there when we did it some years ago. So we are now capturing them, and that's one of the fastest growing speeds in the world. You're talking about the fintech company. You mustn't forget that when you talk about the fintech companies in digital inclusion, you are also looking at artificial intelligence. Those are things that are now, the new normal. So definitely they have come to stay. Like I said, what will happen is that what we will get to see is that there will be more competition between the fintech companies and also the normal commercial banks, and also the telecom companies also that have wider reach also, because anybody in the rural area has a phone, and so they are also involved in mobile banking, also using their own app to make transaction by linking it with your bank account. But the normal commercial bank still remains the king. So definitely, I think it has come to stay. It's not just in Nigeria.
I like the fact that you said commercial bank still remains the king. But let's just see let's see how well this plays out. Thank you so much, Dr. Mukhtar Mohammed, for being a part of the program. Right, Ramsey, and of course he's a banker and of course an economic analyst. Thank you for being a part of the program and making our time to join us on Global Morning. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Well, I think he has said it all.
He has.
He has said it all. He's an investment banker, so he knows what is there, and economic experts and analysts. Well, coming to talk about fintech, he said some very vital. He made some very vital statements. Whether the fintech like it or not, they are still under the commercial banks.
Yeah, he said.
And one of the reasons why a lot of people would want to support fintech is the fact that even the commercial banks are also having apps.
Exactly.
They're also having apps.
Yes,
and in commercial banks right now, they have people who are recruited, they are employed for this purpose. If you want to set up your app so that you link it with your card, then you can make transactions within and outside the country seamlessly.
Yes,
I think that is one of the reasons that people will have the assurance that this fintech have actually come to stay.
And let's just to add to what you've just said, let's not forget that for every advantage there's always a disadvantage on both sides. For those of you that fall into the class that this fintech banking system you don't want to have anything to do because you felt you were once a victim. I think most of us are fallen victims of this particular procedure. But let's just keep hope alive and know that there's always, any which way, there's always an advantage or disadvantage. And at the same time, it has come to stay, like Dr. Mukhtar rightly said. And for those of us, most people that trust in banks, the commercial banks are the king, according to him, right?
Yeah, the commercial banks are the king, while the Apex Bank is in charge of the kingdom somehow. Is the kingdom.
Very true.
All right, but something is very, very important because he said something. He said in developed countries, if any transaction is done and a particular money is being sent to a particular account that you've not been transacting with for a very long time, it has to be checked for 24 hours before that transaction is allowed to go through. So also it should be for individuals. If you get a message from your uncle, from your brother, from your relatives, family and friends, people related, connected, and associated with you, you should find out from them personally why they need that money, because these scammers are very smart. If anyone is asking you for money, put a call across to the person. Oftentimes, they don't like calls. If you say, okay, call me on phone to tell me why you need this money, they won't call again.
That's because, for those of us that have had that experience, that's because they hack the WhatsApp so they can communicate with you.
Claiming to be that person.
Claiming to be that person, but they do not have access to the number itself to call. The normal call. So it's better when you get this weird message with a different name of an account that is not the person you're talking with, call the person immediately.
So funny, that scammer that I talked about that wanted playing pranks on me, but not knowing that I'm a cybersecurity expert.
Really?
I told him, I said, if it is 1 million you need, big bro, if it is 1 million you need, no problem, I'm going to send it to you. But now send me a conventional bank account, because what I want to send will be more than what a fintech account can take. And that was the end of the conversation.
Really?
The person never responded again until today, till tomorrow. So if you're smart enough, you won't allow these guys to find their way through you. So don't allow yourself to be scammed. Don't allow anyone play around you. So
really, and it's very painful because I fell into that. I did.
And one of our colleagues also did. She had a POS.
She had a point of sale machine, but I fell into it because a friend, my very good friend, her account was hacked and I didn't even know. So
you were liberal.
In fact, I don't want to talk about it, but no, it's thank God.
Thank God you know now. A lot of persons don't know, even up till date.
Please, if someone sends you, it could be on the person's chat and says, send me money through this number. Please make a call through. Please, we're creating that awareness. Is very important. And don't forget that Global Television has an app. Yes, you can actually download on our iOS device, either from the Play Store or Apple Store. Just go and see Global Television Nigeria. Just click and then you can watch us wherever you are in the world, even Nigeria. Even when you have adverts or will I say commercials, you can just click and you will find us there. And with that, we have to wrap up the program on Global Morning. This beautiful Monday morning, of course, is the Monday Tag Team. And I am Jumai Manson and my amazing co-host.
Ramsey Oke is my name. To have a beautiful Monday. Get your Monday started on a beautiful note so that the other days of the week can fall in place for you.
And of course, for it to be seamless and easy. So from Ramsey and I, we say...
Bye-bye for now.
Welcome to Global Morning.
That's tools from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
If you don't say we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April.